Hey, good morning. It's Liz from West Star Tarot, and I'm sitting here on a beautiful August summer morning. I'm still in my pajamas. I've got my cuppa going, and I thought I would take a moment to film my July favorites. I'm behind. I have a list of videos that I want to work on, but yeah, you know. So this has just been a weird summer. A lot of people have told me they feel the same way. I was at a women's sacred circle on Friday night. As I said, this is Sunday. And the woman sitting next to me said, this summer just feels like disruption. There's been a lot of disruptions. And I kind of get what she's saying, because it's not so much for me that it feels disrupted as that it just doesn't feel normal. It's like, I don't know, I'm not eating the foods that I usually eat. Like, I've only had corn on the cob a couple of times. I really haven't gone to the beach that much. I haven't had very many beautiful summer tomatoes. I don't know what to eat. I don't know what to cook. I feel like I've been reading some kind of lame books, and I don't know. It just doesn't feel quite right. But anyway, that being said, I guess that's kind of part of the reason that I haven't been doing my videos as I usually do. So, I have a stack of decks. I have my little handy dandy tracker that I write what decks I use every day and the cards that I pull. And then in the back of the little planner, I write down new decks. And in July, 1, 2, 3, 7, I got 7 decks. Now, some of this was just weird timing. Decks that had been on order came in, and I don't know why I ended up getting 7 decks in 1 month. When I think for this whole year, yeah, I'd only previously gotten 7 decks totaled. So in 1 month, I doubled how many decks I've gotten this year. Anyway, this tracker, this little planner that I bought, you know, I don't know, did I get it online? Did I get it at Marshall's? I don't remember. I don't know. Anyway, I'm using it to track the cards I pull, the decks I use, because I am participating in Masha's Deck of the Month, Deck of the Year, even though I have not made a video about that for quite a few months. But today I want to talk about my deck for July. And then on my list of videos to make, I will be making, you know, just a quick 10-minute video about the decks that I've been, that have been my deck of the month so far this year. And so are therefore in the running for deck of the year, I guess. All right, so for July, my deck of the month was My Beloved. Oh, look. Perfect. Tarot de Sanquoir. I got this deck way back when it first came out. Let me see. The copyright is in here. 2013. I think I got it in 2014. I didn't get it the year it came out, but soon thereafter I got it. And I just fell in love with it. It was one of my first modern decks, even though or maybe I should say non-traditional decks, and I fell in love with it right away. The year I got it, I saw it, so that was back before there was, or at least before I was aware of, Tarot Tube and Tarot Community on Instagram and all these places that we now see tarot folks interacting with each other. I found this deck. I might as well be showing cards as I'm blathering on. I saw this deck in a tarot magazine. I don't think it's in print anymore, and I can't remember the name of it, but it had an advertisement for this deck. And then I think the next month's issue had an interview of Lisa de St. Croix, is the artist and creator. Queen of Swords is my card for August. I love this. I love this. This is one of my favorite. 10 of Cups. My family, well, when my parents were still alive, and my sisters and my then partner and I, all day on Christmas, we would just open special bottles of champagne. And, well, that makes us sound bad, but anyway, it wasn't like that. So that just makes me think of my family and happy memories of holidays gone by. Look at this beautiful sun card. I just love this, and I always pull this deck out in the summer. I don't know if it's the terracotta borders or Lisa's, look at that, Lisa's use of sunflowers, but there's something about this deck that, love that makes me want to use it this time of year. So this is my deck of the month for July. I think I used it 9 times in July, which is a lot because I tend to use lots of decks. So in the month of July, let me look at my little, in the month of July, I used 13 decks. And to be fair, probably 5 or 6 of them were oracles. So considering I used so many decks, the fact that I used Tarot de St. Croix 9 times is, I think, significant. So I also pulled this card in a reading one day, and I was a little annoyed, perturbed, upset, I don't know, because I'm like, really? Haven't I moved beyond that? Haven't I? But listen to what Lisa has to say about the Three of Swords. Forgiveness heals betrayal and heartbreak, Luna. Forgiveness heals betrayal and heartbreak. And I think I mentioned in a previous video that I've been doing some work starting the beginning of June on forgiveness. And I'm going to talk about that in a video of its own. So that's my card or deck of the month. The crystal that I've been, well, let me talk about this book. So I mentioned, I think in my last month's video, that I'm in a reading group, and we are reading Robert M. Place's The Tarot, Magic, Alchemy, Hermeticism, and Neoplatonism. We've gotten this far along. Actually, I missed Friday night, so we're probably into the 300s by now. And as it says in the title, there's discussion in this book about alchemy. And for any of you familiar with Robert Place's tarot decks, you know that he has made several decks specifically using alchemy as inspiration. And he does speak a lot, of course, in that book about alchemy. So anyway, I can't remember how I got reminded about or inspired to pull this stone out. You can't, I wish, let's see if I can move this. I don't, it has to be in the sun. But anyway, it does sparkle. It's sulfur. I've had this stone over 30 years. I actually got it out of the Soufriere in Montserrat in the West Indies, Caribbean. At the time, it was not active. I mean, it was slightly active because it was, you could smell the sulfur, you could see the steam, you could feel the heat. In fact, going into that Soufriere, it would be like so healing for your sinuses. But anyway, I started thinking about that and sulfur, and I think because of the, again, this, you can't really, I wish you could see it. You can't really see it, but it's such a beautiful, vibrant yellow, and it has sparkles. And even 30 years later, I can still smell the sulfur, and I can smell it on my hands, and it just makes me so happy. Soon after I got this piece of sulfur, the volcano blew up. Now, don't blame me, because I took a piece of rock from around the Soufriere, because I asked the locals, and everybody said no, people take stones out of there all the time. It's not, there's no legend about not taking a rock or a stone from that volcano. So I did check. Anyway, thinking about the Robert M. Place book and the sulfur reminded me of this book, Alchemy, The Beginner's Guide to Alchemy by Sarah Dern. Practical Lessons and Exercises to Enhance Your Life. This is a book that I have had for a long time. I'm not even sure if I ever completed it, but I go back to it frequently because I am fascinated by alchemy. I read a whole series of mystery books on the protagonist is an alchemist, and Robert Place and his decks, and this book, and I have a couple other books. I just find it fascinating. So anyway, I was reading in this book about the magnum opus, the great work, and the author talks about how in alchemy the idea of opposites is very important to alchemical workings. And she goes on to talk about sulfur and mercury. And she says, alchemists believed mercury to be active, hot, and fiery, and associated Mercury with the symbolic Red King and Sol, or the sun. So if you look at Robert Place's deck, the simplified alchemical one, I can't remember the title, there is a Red King and a White Queen. Sulfur, on the other hand, was believed to be passive, watery, wet, and was associated with the symbolic White Queen and Luna. The union of these two opposing forces would create the universal solvent, aka the Philosopher's Stone. Traditionally, mercury is associated with the spirit and sulfur with the soul. Contradicting alchemical texts sometimes switch this association, prescribing mercury with the contentment of the soul and sulfur with the striving of the spirit. So, old texts don't always agree. But anyway, I'm dabbling in and out again of alchemy. I probably should pull out one of Robert Place's decks to use in August, so I think maybe I will. And so those are books I'm reading, and as well as, per usual, goofy mystery books and thrillers. Plants. This has been a really, really big year for calendula for me. This is my second jar of calendula infused oil. I started it August 8th, so on the Lionsgate portal. I just adore calendula. The past few years I've grown it and it just hasn't bloomed well, which is kind of crazy because it's not a hard plant to grow. I don't know, maybe it just didn't like my soil because I live on Cape Cod and have this sandy soil. But anyway, so that I'm going to have at least 2 jars of the oil for the winter, maybe more. And then the other thing in July, so this I started August 8th, but I have another jar that I kept filling every day. I would pick the calendula and let it wilt overnight and then add it to the so you want to fill this jar with as much calendula as possible. One of the herbalists that I have taken classes with, Rosalie de la Ferre, says, when you see it on TikTok or whatever, Instagram, they have these, very pretty pictures of like 3 calendula floating in some oil. Yeah, that's not going to make a medicinal oil. You have to pack it full. And you want to use the whole flower with the, I don't know if you can see it, yeah, with these little green pieces. You don't want to just pull the petals off. So that's the calendula. And then the other thing is Tulsi, my beloved holy basil. So I try to grow holy basil every year. Last year I couldn't find any plants, and it was too late to start seed, and I was just so bereft because I thought, oh no, I'm not going to have any holy basil this year. All of a sudden, in one of my big pots with a tomato in it, I saw this plant pop up, and I said, "Oh my gosh, it's a volunteer! It's a Tulsi!" And then one grew up in the cracks of my deck, so I picked them up both and replanted them in the garden. And then this was, probably in August, so it was kind of late to be working with getting them to bloom enough or get big enough to harvest. So I didn't really have much of a harvest. I might have made some tea or something. And anyway, I wintered them over. I dug them up and put them in pots and brought them inside and babied them all winter. And I planted them in my garden, and one of them is a little sad, but the other one is huge and bushy, and I'm getting so much Tulsi from it. And I've taken cuttings, and so this year I have about maybe 6 or 8 Tulsi plants growing in my garden, so I have plenty to harvest to make tea and to make, this is a Tulsi glycerate, and when I finish with this, I'm going to make a Tulsi tincture, or holy basil tincture. So those are my plants. So I'm right at 20 minutes, and I don't want to, I'm not going to show cards from these decks because I think I'm going to do a video on each of the, probably all of them together, and go through the cards. I just don't want this to be like a really hugely long video. So these are decks that I ordered, not all at once, but they came in July. So I don't really remember the order, but this is Tarot of the Huntress by Kara Small. This is one of the last ones of this edition, and she said she may not be making this deck again, so I thought, oh, all right, I'll get it. And I mentioned it in a video that I made on decks I want to use this summer or something. I don't remember the name of it. That I was really disappointed because I got the deck and it's found art, pre-Raphaelite art, and there's nothing that comes with the deck that explains who the artist is or why Kara used it for that particular card. And then several people commented on my video and said, oh, no, she has a PDF. So I reached out to her and she did send me the PDF, which I need to print out so that I can then go ahead and use that deck. Oracle of Oneness. I've been getting some incredible readings. I haven't used Tarot of the Huntress. This one I've been using, and I've gotten some really incredible readings from. I'm really happy to have this deck. It's beautiful. And again, I'll go into more detail. This was a little bit, I will show the card that inspired me to get this. This is the Reclaim Oracle, and you know, I have been I've been seeing this online, people using it and just raving about how empowering it is and how healing it is and how much wonderful work they have been able to do with it. And I saw someone going through the cards and they pulled this one. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, that's it. That is exactly how it feels. And I have been working on moving beyond a pretty huge betrayal. And yeah, and remember what Lisa's card, the Three of Swords, said. Let's see if I can pull this out again. Forgiveness heals betrayal and heartbreak. So, you know, I'm still working on this ongoing. But anyway, I haven't used this deck, and I really want to. But I think it's something that will be in autumn, like October, November. That feels like the time of year that I will be ready to work with this oracle. Summer just doesn't seem like the right time for me. Because of the reading group I'm in, I did just get this deck, the First Occult Tarot by Robert M. Place. And I'll talk more about that in a video. I got this deck, a Minchiati, because I've been watching Masha, Musings by Masha, has been doing kind of an educational series on Minchiati decks. And so I thought, you know, I should have one of these decks just because I'm a student of tarot. So I got that one. And then a friend of mine has this deck, Bon Sequitur by Sefer Fotenauer. And it's just, I love square decks. It's a lovely deck. I'm sorry I'm not showing any cards, but I'm just afraid it will turn into a 40-minute video. And my friend showed me that deck months ago, and I thought, yeah, you know, I like it, but do I need it? Will I use it? Does it fill a unique place? And then I met up with my friend again in June, and I looked at that deck again, and I said, that time it really, really spoke to me, so I ordered it. Then this is a deck that I have been eyeing for quite some time, the Southern Botanical Oracle. And I am not from the southeastern part of the United States. I'm from the northeastern part. But I think I went through and counted of these cards. I think it was all but maybe 7 or 8 also grow around where I live. So I thought, you know what? Why not? They grow around me. They're plants I'm familiar with and that I like to use, so I did get that. And then while I was on the site, I thought, well, what the heck? I might as well get this deck too. It's beautiful. So I got this deck. And then finally, the last deck I got in July, if that isn't already enough, is Earth Mother Magic Tarot, an eco-feminist Riso Tarot deck for queer women and femme people by Aisha Mira Yashin, who is a young woman who is an art student in the UK. One beautiful, wonderful, fabulous deck. So, July. Busy, not normal month for me with lots of plants and decks and books and reading groups and not so much of the things. Well, I do always like to work with plants in the summer, but it's just been like summer disrupted. I don't know, it's been weird. So that's my July. And I do have a bunch of videos I have planned to make. I hope I get to them in August. If not, it'll just wait till the fall, won't it? Anyway, peace and love, and may the plant spirits touch you and heal you. Blessings, my friends.